Bingies, welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I got some dope-ass co-hosts in the house tonight. My first co-host, she's an actress. She's a straight-up superstar. Say what's up to the people, Miss Courtney Scott, right?
Hello, hello.
And my other co-host, the guy, he's the new from the Ville. Yo, Rikai, let him know who you are, son.
Hello, Governor.
And my next co-host, well, he ain't here every week. He's no stranger to the BingeWorthy podcast. He's back home with the family. Yo, Centel, let him know who you are, son.
Oh, Miss Silly home now. What's going down, y'all?
Made me think I just saw the trailer for The Color Purple when I went to go see Barbie. And we are.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a joke. Oh, we're totally off topic. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about that later, though. I'm going to put a pin in that. Okay, Go ahead.
And we are the BingeWorthy podcast. The purpose of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series to let you know if you should. The show, at the beginning of the show, we start off by rating it using our unique binge-worthy scale. Then we engage in conversation, and at the end of the show, we re-rate it again. So I am going to call on my technical director to put on the screen. How did the binge-worthy crew feel about One Piece? I was about to say One Punch. Okay. So we got 2 full meals and 2 binge-worthies. Okay, I like it. What's that? Rikai, you the math guy.
It's halfway between a full meal and a binge-worthy, so
It's a tasty treat.
4.5.
So we got 18, divided by 4, and yeah, you're right. 4.5. So that'll round us up to a full binge out for right now. All right. As I mentioned a little earlier, we are reviewing Netflix's One Piece. It has 8 episodes with a runtime about 1 hour. The series, it follows the adventures of the Straw Hat Pirates as they explore the dangerous oceans, lands, and beyond in search of the One Piece, a fabled treasure that will make their captain, Monkey D. Luffy, King of the Pirates. But the Marines are on their ship's tail, and they are not the only crew that is searching for the One Piece. All right, guys. So let's talk about this. Centel, man, I'm gonna start off with you for One Piece. This is a famous anime. It's been running for decades on decades. It's got what, about 1,000 episodes. Yep. Somebody told me, said it really starts to get good around episode 360. And I was like, hey, not waiting that long to find out. Yeah. So for you, do you think the live action version is something that fans of the anime could be proud of?
Yeah, listen, with a large history of misses when it comes to anime turned live action, I think IMDb's lowest scoring project of all time is the live action version of Dragon Ball Z. I think it's like a 2.5 or whatever, with like thousands and thousands of votes. And other series falling short, like the ones that we just got done watching regarding Cowboy Bebop. One Piece is head and shoulders above most of the majority as far as like keeping the tone, keeping it funny, not seeming weird during the transitions between something being animated and being something live action. It is exceptionally good for the type of story that it is telling. But I'm saying that coming from somebody who has watched some of One Piece. I've watched a little over 100. That means I am nowhere even close to being an expert. But I do have a good frame of reference from what it looks like then to what it looks like now. And I think it's a pretty good representation. If you are new to One Piece, I don't know if this is for you, though. That's the thing. So it feels like it's bespoke. So I'm curious as to what the rest of you all think. I loved it.
Okay. You say you watched 100 episodes and you didn't even scratch the surface. That's crazy, right? Yeah. So, Rakai, for this, we said it is an animated property, and anime has its own storytelling style, right? The visuals and everything like that. How well do you think they did in creating this world in live action based off an anime?
Well,
visually.
To echo what Centel just said, the bar for an anime going live action is extremely low. I mean, it's lower than DC movies. You understand what I'm saying? So thought you'd like that right there. So visually, this movie is actually striking. So on a different side of Centel, I am new to One Piece. Now, I have watched tons and tons of anime and read tons of manga, and my kids introduced One Piece to me, being it was one of the big three. But when I talked to our resident expert in anime, Chuck, and he said, yeah, it's good. It gets good about episode 360. I was like, hey, count me out, sir. No, sir. I'm not waiting to be 2 years in before it starts getting good. No, sir. Cannot do it. And so I watched like 2 episodes and I was out, because what I saw was, for me, I'm a completionist. I got started like episode 1. I got to know what's going on. The animation from when it started back in 1999 was very kiddie. It was very elementary, and I was just like, it was, I understood the story. I liked the pilot, but seeing in live action, I really liked what they did with it. It was, and so, like you said, it's bespoke, but for somebody who really is new to One Piece, I actually like this and can get into it and be like, okay, I can get into the world. I can get into the characters. I'm really a fan of Luffy. Zoro's my dude. Like, I like what I saw, and I'm so anxious for season 2.
Okay, all right, we jumping ahead, but we're gonna get there. So, Courtney, I thought that the look of this, the feel of it was really exaggerated. It was really over the top, which is in line with an anime what an anime property is. But do you think this was acceptable for a live action version?
I don't think I quite understand your question. You mean in
So
terms of like the
show
overall, like,
the show is very over the top. It's
uh-huh,
very exaggerated. Now this works definitely for anime, but does it
right.
work for live action?
Okay. I think in order for you to do this show at all, I think to do it justice, I think you have to be, because this show is so specific, or like the anime, and I haven't even like touched scratched even nearly the surface. I think I started One Piece, the anime, like I'm in episode 10. Like legitimately, I'm a baby. I'm like newborn, just got some legs. So but what I gathered from that, it showed me that who these people are is the live action, if it showed up and was just trying to be like only dramatic, like you couldn't even serve Luffy himself, you couldn't serve the devil fruit, you couldn't serve like all his gum punch it, like if you tried to be strategically just dramatic, I think you would lose the nuances of like who these characters are and what the show is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel the same way. I felt like it all worked, right? It all worked and it came together beautifully. That's one reason I gave it a full binge out. Go ahead.
I will say, because I like Rakai, I loved the anime pilot. I loved it. So, and I loved, because I think I watched like the first 6 before I even started the live action. And my friend told me that that was my fault. He was like, you did this to yourself, because after I watched the first episode of the live action, I was like hella disappointed, in the sense of like, there's one line that Luffy said in the animation, and he said, it's not about whether I can or can't do something. I'm doing it because I want to. And I thought that was a very telltale sign about who this character is. And they didn't put that in the show. Like, they didn't establish Luffy. They didn't establish who he is, the essence of him, until like halfway through the series. And it wasn't even him that he gave a hint of that line. It was Roronoa Zoro. And he described Luffy to someone else, and that was a takeaway from me. Like, I love the fact that Luffy is confidence, and he instills confidence in his crew. So like, they find themselves within him. So I initially, first 2 episodes, I was like, cringe, they don't understand this show, this is what you get from like network people. But then it found its legs for me, and I thought that it really sea legs, it really developed itself.
All right, so let's talk about this show a little further. So Centel, man, you are an actor, and I thought for this project we had a very large cast. How did the overall quality of the acting influence your rating?
I thought you did really good. Especially regarding, okay, so inclusion can be a little wonky when it comes to animes turn live action. We saw like the disaster of Avatar, and some other instances. Well, with this band of seagoers, you know, they represent all over the world. Luffy's like Brazilian. Zoro is Japanese. Girl is, I think she's like Swedish. So you've got like a lot of different nationalities, and I don't know if their nationality is exact, but it looks and feels like everybody comes from different cultural takes and different cultural backgrounds. So the look of it was pretty good. And then add to the fact that I'm hearing that Zoro is Sonny Chiba's kid. I was like, oh, we got some royalty in the house, you know. And then the translation of how Zoro moves did really well. I mean, if you Sonny Chiba's son, you better come correct. You know, your daddy watch it. So I overall, there were no real misses. Luffy, I thought, did an exceptional job. I have heard some complaints regarding him not having a Portuguese accent and it being more Spanish, but I don't have the ear to pick that up. So for me, I didn't have a problem with it. And I thought that in order to get Luffy right, live action is a very difficult thing to do. We've seen it fail over and over and over and over again. I thought he hit the nail right on the head. I was pleased.
Okay. So, Courtney, you are an actress as well, ma'am. How did you feel about the quality of acting for this project?
I thought the acting was really strong. It definitely grew as the series went. For me, like the show didn't really kick off until episode 4. I thought it got I thought everybody understood their character at around that point. I do think that Luffy in the beginning came in and out. Like he kind of got caught up in like the big grandiose nature of Luffy. But once we start to see him really sink into the connection and the bonds being built between his team and his crew, that's when he came alive for me. I thought Roronoa Zoro, like he was so charming and he was so connected almost right away. Like his big episode in like when he is introduced, that wasn't his fault. It was the writing. Like I understand you had to change some things. You couldn't have him out there, strung up for 30 days. It had to be 7 days. You couldn't do like certain things that happened in the anime the way it happened, but none of that was his fault. I thought he did it was really strong from the get-go. Nami, she had to grow on me a little bit, but the one who really stood out was Sanji. I thought Sanji was really strong from the beginning. He knew his character from the moment we met him, and I really enjoyed what he brought to it. I liked his whole story with like he and the chef. I thought the grandfather, I thought it was a good overall collaborative effort that everybody connected and meshed well. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it became good.
Okay. So Rakai, let's talk about our protagonist, Luffy here. So is this character strong enough to be the protagonist in a live action property?
Well, I mean, it's funny to say that because in anime, that you have the big 3 properties. Naruto, One Piece, and Dragon Ball. And it's been that way forever.
Yeah, I was just making sure you was gonna get that right. I'm like, you better get these big 3
I
right,
saw
man.
you counting them.
Yeah, I was looking.
Oh no, those are not hard. It's always the debate on what is the big 3 now.
Yeah.
But those are the big 3, and you can't, people want to substitute Bleach and all this other stuff, but no, those are the big 3. You know what I'm saying? Your shonen anime. Yes, Chuck, I did know that. So for a property that's been around for 24 years, to say that Luffy is not strong enough to carry an anime, even though that's even if you say that anime is this subsect and it's its own thing and it's only it's a very specialized type of animated property. It's strong throughout the world, and it may not be as strong here in America. It may not be as strong as some of the other properties here in America, but Luffy, what I enjoyed about Luffy, and it's something that Courtney said earlier, is what's different about his character is he never really seems to be trying to find himself or find his purpose like every other protagonist. In every other property, you have the protagonist is trying to figure his shit out. Luffy, like from a young age, knew off top, I'm going to be a pirate. Not only am I going to be a pirate, I'm going to be the king of all the pirates. and then not only that, he is pure positivity. He believes in himself. He believes in his friends. He believes in helping people and helping the innocent. And he ain't going to let anybody get in the way of that. And he almost turns into a Hulk-like creature. Like he gets stronger. He gets madder. You leave my friends alone. I don't play that shit. And that to me is a breath of fresh air. And I'm sure there are other characters, that have been like that. Ted Lasso was pure positivity. However, on the other side of it, he also has anxiety attacks, and he, had some self-doubt going on. Luffy wasn't like that. Luffy didn't doubt a damn thing. Luffy knew what he was doing, where he was going, and was infectious to other people to join him. That's a pretty strong protagonist.
And to recognize their qualities and decide, I need you in my crew because I see you. I see the thing that maybe you don't even see.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead, Rikai.
She hit, you know what I'm saying? It's like I hit the nail all the way, but I left it up a little bit, and she came through with, yeah, okay, now it's in.
I will say there's one thing that the writers, I think, try to find a way to make him weaker in some way. Not weak as a character, but from the place of like not without flaws, like coming across, because there are things that happen in the anime that he always was victorious. You know what I mean? Like he had few setbacks, but like not really like defeats. Like, especially I'm thinking of like Buggy. Like at no point in time did he struggle with Buggy, but yet they had to make it seem like it wasn't quite so easy. And that bothered me a little bit. That might be why it didn't get a binge worthy.
Okay, so we've established Luffy as the protagonist, and he's got a crew. Right at the beginning, he needs to assemble a crew. He's got to assemble a mission. Right, he doesn't have any money. He don't have a crew. He don't have a ship. He don't have anything. But he finds them in all these peripheral characters. So Centel, how do you feel the peripheral characters contribute to the plot of the story?
Yeah, it's the sum of his parts, right? Luffy is great, but it's really about the entire crew of everybody, and I thought they did really well. I can't lie. I was like, oh, they're gonna mess up Usopp, they're gonna mess him up. They're gonna like, I don't know, turn him into like a caricature, and they kind of did, but not. It wasn't overly negative. It wasn't like we're watching Dragon Ball Z and we're looking at Mr. Popo, like with the big shiny red lips and him, with the, they didn't do that to him. But, he's the storyteller and he's supposed to be a little bit bigger than life. And I thought the actor did a really good job of just towing the line. So that to me was probably my biggest concern. All the other characters I thought did really well. What's the name of the chef? I always forget his name. Sanji. Sanji was a surprise. I heard that he only had like 6 months training. 6 months training for combat and for cooking as well, for both of them. And you can tell that he's not a martial arts expert, but he sold it well enough for such a short amount of time. He is a beloved character for me on the anime, excuse me, on the animated series, and that love transferred over really well. Nami, she was just as irritating as she's always been, and her
I wasn't the only one. Okay,
nah, she was irritating, and to be the only female.
But she was irritating on the show, so it translates well. And I thought they did a decent job with her redemption per se. And then of course, my favorite of all of them is Zoro. I think he's Ranoa Zoro on this, but an anime Zoro, and Zoro is my guy. He's that dude, cool, calm, and collected, never really shook. It's all about being the greatest swordsman of the world, and whatever it takes, he knocks that out the park. He steals the show for the entire series, for me personally.
All right. So, Courtney, our crew goes on a lot of adventures. Any of them stand out to you throughout the series?
Yes, the one with the sword fighters, the one that Ranoa Zoro that he challenged when he came out that little baby sword.
That was dope.
That was a dope scene. Just like the way that he schooled him and had so much respect. Like he was so powerful. I wanted more of that character. I thought he was really strong. I thought that, I've already mentioned like Sanji and Zoro. Yes. I will say I did kind of like, it's a love-hate with Arlon. Like, from the acting, writing perspective. And, I was like, okay, you got a meaty role and you actually served it up. Like you did, it was a strong performance. And then there's the me that gets angry at the trope that they use that a Black actor has to be in a mask and a character makeup that serving the story of the African diaspora. You know what I'm saying? Like serving up, like talking about using the Black experience to serve up, like talking about how the fish people were slaves and we were looked upon, and you know what I mean? Like, like we now we're here to take over the sea, but you're on land. I'm like, what? I mean,
is that not in the anime?
Struggle. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. But my point is, you used a Black actor who was gonna bring his own personal narrative and experience. Did it work for the character? 100%. Did I think the actor did his job? Yes, he did. Did it still bother me that he couldn't just be a Black man that looked less fishy, even though he probably did look just like his character?
They almost Jar Jar Binksed him. They almost.
Almost. But he sold it.
Way. But you're right. He was like, nah, y'all ain't gonna Jar Jar me.
He came with it.
Yeah, because he definitely, it's a different representation from the animated series for me. And it's what you just said. He was like, I'm gonna take this character and make it my own. And he did. He didn't make it a caricature, and it could have easily done that.
Okay.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. I corrected myself because I was like, I said that wrong. I said that so wrong. But please continue. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I was just saying it could have easily him and Aesop or Usopp in the series. They could have easily let those characters it could have got ugly and bad and weird. And I feel like they must have had a powwow after the cast. It was like, hey, bro, we can't be Mr. Popo. We can't do this. We got to be for real with it. And that's not an easy task to do.
Yeah, I guess I was going to ask it later, but did he have valid points, or did it help endear him to the audience, his little diatribe about being the second class citizens, or are we just like, nah, he was just a straight up villain?
It's his Killmonger speech.
Hey, man, I was about to, you pulled it right out of my mouth.
Killmonger,
you mean Killmonger. Fishmonger?
You mean Namor?
Or Namor.
See, I was gonna say Fishmonger. I was gonna say Fishmonger, that's what I was calling. But like
little baby shark fin on his back.
You know what I'm saying? But I forgot your question.
Yeah,
I hate to say it. I think I'm mad. That I want to admit that yes, he did. The actor did his job, and he told the story.
I was like, and I didn't know he was a Black actor. I didn't know who the actor was, but I thought the actor's performance was powerful and compelling enough that I was like, well, maybe he has something here.
Come on, you saw them fish's lips, fish's nose.
That voice. You know what I mean? The way he came with it. You know what I mean? Like he had that 50 Cent swagger. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
so the actor's name is.
He did like there was a smoothness to him. Maybe not swagger, but
yeah, the actor's name is McKinley Beecher, and I knew who he was from his voice because he was in a couple other things. One in particular that I really loved his character in. There was a show that came on. It was called The Passive. It was only on for one season, where he was turning into a vampire or whatever, and he was really, really strong in that, and he stood out. And he was also the gay FBI agent in Ozark.
Was he?
What?
Oh,
that was my God! I missed that.
Okay.
Good call. I missed that.
Yeah, it was him. So he's strong. I like him as an actor, and I agree with you. I think that could have easily went left, him and Usopp. But I liked the way that he played Arlong. I didn't care for the Namor speech, the Killmonger speech. I didn't trust that at all. But I let it go. And Usopp being the little boy who cried wolf, I didn't care that much either. But I liked his dedication, and him being the griot. I liked him, being the storyteller, the exaggerated liar of the group. But I did like his dedication to the people and stuff. So I did enjoy Arlong being the real, I guess, the real antagonist of the second half of the
He's
story.
definitely the antagonist. I'm just wondering, villain. Is he the villain?
I don't know if he's I mean, the pirates themselves are almost, it's hard to call them villains because they're just literally ports in Luffy's journey. Because the real villain, at least of this season, were the Marines. It was his, the vice admiral who was chasing him for whatever the reason that I'm not going to spoil. But I just feel like he had his own journey and they just crossed paths. And I think every pirate, with the exception of Buggy, every pirate that he crossed paths with, and I like that actor, the actor Jeff Ward who played Buggy.
Yeah.
I like him. I liked him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I didn't really like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But he is he's a good, strong comedic character. So he was great for the role. I just don't think they did it necessarily the way I loved it. He did get better for me as the season went on. But doggone it, that dog episode in the anime is hands down, and it's episode 5 and 6 in the anime of season 1. Listen, best dog story I have ever seen, because I don't like pet stories. I don't like it. I don't care about the little animal heroes. I don't. This damn dog, if he didn't need an Academy Award, and then you throw in a raggedy ass dog just like on the side looking for bones, like that was he had so much to do with Luffy's journey in the anime that led him to the story and with Buggy that just, they couldn't do well.
And I guess without seeing the anime, it didn't have any.
It didn't have any weight. It was fluff.
On me.
Yes. Please chime in. Please chime in, Chuck.
Yeah. I think the characters did a great job. The thing that bothered me most was the environment of the anime as a character too. And they didn't give me enough of that. Like, it let me know they had budget limitations. Like Netflix kind of didn't go all out with it. Because Buggy in that dog episode, Buggy's like 9 episodes in that city. And what they did to that city was like, wow, these pirates are not playing at all.
Yes.
Because y'all are confused.
So it's in the episode anime 2 in the live action. When you see Buggy in the circus, there is no circus. It's the whole town. You get to see that town destroyed. And before you see that is this journey. Luffy meets this dog who is like protecting his dead owner's store. And that's all I'm going to say. It's hands down one of the best. Really good episodes. It's a brilliant piece of art.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the only thing that they give you is where Nami, seemingly betrays Luffy and Zoro and runs outside, and then the Buggy crew catch her and brings her back in. What did you do? What did you do to this town? And it's like, that's all that you got,
Yeah. That. And I wish they would have shot to the vista to show the whole entire town.
Or just have no big top.
Yeah.
Have no big top, so we could have at least seen the devastation,
Yeah.
I think this is almost an impossible project, and it's got to be a writing nightmare because they were like, you get 8 episodes. And from what I'm understanding, each episode was $17 million.
Yeah, it was really expensive.
Yeah, it is.
That's dumb expensive. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like 170 something million.
Crazy expensive.
Crazy, yeah.
And they covered roughly about 50 episodes in these 8 episodes. They covered roughly about 50. That is impressive. And I think like if you're a casual viewer, you're probably gonna be like, yeah, this is pretty good. But if you have any context of like the length of all the stuff, that's impressive. And as much as I loved that scene that you're talking about, Courtney, and you're absolutely right, I can also I get it from the writing standpoint and the producer standpoint. They're like, yo, we got 8. It has to be lean. Like, we got to cut all of the fat. And with that, there's going to be something that's going to be beloved that's not going to make it. And unfortunately, that part was on the chopping block, and it stings for us that know. But if you don't know, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, you know, like you have like the little hint of the dog. But I have a friend who works at Netflix, and Netflix in a different department, didn't work on this, but works in a different department. And he said something that really kind of put things into perspective for me. He said a lot of times the Netflix producers and show creators, they come at it with this idea that we have to throw the kitchen sink at the 8 episodes that we get, because we don't know if we're going to get a season 2. So we do our best to entice as many viewers as we can with as much information as we can, in case this is a one and done. You know, as much of this story that we love, that we want to tell. And that put it into a different perspective. I can't say that it's necessarily right, but I do see and understand why it was done the way it was done.
All right. So let's go. Oh, go ahead, Rikai.
Well, I was just saying, and maybe this is the wrong place, because I was just going to throw out something contextual. And unfortunately, it probably colored my decision for BingeWorthy, because I was more than happy to give it a BingeWorthy, because I really enjoyed what I saw. I couldn't wait to tell my kids that they need to see it. So I read an article that talked about Ichiro Oda, who created One Piece. He was the executive producer of this. Oh. He oversaw everything that they did because it had to please him. And the guys who were making it said their goal was not to please the nebulous audience, was to please him. He signed off on everything. He rewrote scenes. He made them reshoot stuff. And he said he's been approached since the series came out to do a live action, and he always said no. And he said he watched a movie that said, okay, that convinces me I can do it. I want it to look like that. But it took him a while to find someone who would let him be in enough control to make it look the way he wanted it to look. So it represented him right, because he was aware of how bad, adaptations are. And the movie he saw that inspired him to do it was Shaolin Soccer.
And it's still, Shaolin Soccer still holds up too. Still to this day, it's that good. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, I can see all that. I mean, I just noticed that was an extra character, and I would have loved to see more of the towns and stuff, but understood what the constraints they had. 17 million an episode is nothing to bark at. Nothing at all. And this is the make or break to a lot of fans, because they're rabid about this, which makes me want to bring up the next thing. Johnny, you may get to it later, but pacing. I think in some episodes, the arc ended middle of the episode and they went to the next one. And I halfway wish they would have broke the episodes out and made them smaller. Because I love the title card. I always loved the title card. Every title card was different, and it gave a new feel to the show when it came on.
Yeah, because it was like a new pirate. I noticed
so
that.
Chuck, are you saying that like for them to made the episodes a little bit shorter and gave us more episodes so we could have got more information?
Yeah, I think so. Because the biggest thing that doesn't come across with Luffy all that well, it's there, but Luffy is a pirate that's based in honor and love for his crew. And he learned that from Shanks. So you get the love from his crew from Shanks, but he's willing to do whatever to honor his crew. He's willing to die for his crew. He's ride or die every time.
That didn't come across in the series. I think
it did.
I thought that came across.
I think it did, but he's definitely that guy. But I wanted more interaction with him and Shanks about that. What led him to be that?
What didn't come across was more of his devotion and his love for Shanks, like that whole relationship, like why he was so attached to his hat, like what?
Yeah,
because what they showed us wasn't enough to
It
really
really,
say what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
Don't get
It
me wrong,
wasn't
I
too
loved
They
it.
gave up an arm for him. That
I
wasn't
loved
enough.
it. I
No,
loved
no,
it.
no, no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, I said I do love it. Sorry, I couldn't interrupt you, Courtney. I did love everything they did with Shanks. I just wanted more of that a little bit. And I understood his relationship with his grandfather. And I got enough of that.
Well, hold on. So wait a second. So you knew that Luffy's grandfather was who was? Because I thought that was a bit spoilery. I was like, oh, for my assumption, like I said, I am not a One Piece expert. For those that are like, wait, I thought I was like, that's a really big reveal to kind of
Well,
like
that was
like episode 3.
Kind of spoilery right now.
I'm sorry.
I know,
I'm sorry.
like y'all,
I'm sorry.
yeah, because I tried real hard.
Let me go on. Let me go on mute.
Okay.
Let me mute my mic. Y'all can cut me off anytime, Rodney. Cut me off anytime.
No. We already did now.
Since he brought it up, I was like,
I mean,
I'm sorry. Let's get off of it.
Yeah, we there now.
Wait.
Okay.
What, exactly. We're here now.
Yeah, we here now.
Since we did, I know that what Rakai and Randy alluded to earlier when we first started is that they were both told by Chuck that it didn't get really good until episode 360. And I have heard from several people watched the series that said, you don't have to stay off, that said that, there was a big spoiler that, oh, we're here. A lot of the fans were saying we're here now because that particular element wasn't revealed until somewhere in the middle of episodes 300. So, that was a huge moment because people were like, whoa, like
that was like
we didn't
episode like 3.
that.
Yeah, that was like
Exactly.
And it was done nonchalantly. It wasn't like a big build up to it. They were just kind of on the boat.
They were just like,
is it? And like, oh, and then we move on.
And I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but what Grandpa alluded to in around like episode 5 or 6 when he was saying who he alluded to Luffy's father was, I'm like, that was a little like Darth Vader-y. I mean, you just kind of almost like revealed I feel like I didn't watch all of One Piece now. Do I need to watch all 1,100 damn shows and shit? I mean, unless you're gonna tell me Shanks is really the devil who created the damn fruit, I don't know. Because that's where I was going. I was like, did he do this?
Dang, look, Courtney, you done spoiled it again. That's episode 785. No, I'm playing. I don't know.
So, let's talk about a few other components though, like the action scenes. So tell me what's up with you, man. There's a lot of fight scenes in here. So what did you think about the action sequences and the fight scenes for the series?
Me? Oh,
yes, and tell.
Yeah, I think because we love action films, and you can tell when something's been done by like Wu Ping or something like that, or like some of the top tier choreographers. You could just tell, and then there's others where you can be like, you could just tell the actors are giving a good effort. And this is one of those series where the actors are giving a good effort. There's things that are like, okay, it's season 1. Once they get another 6 more months of training and stuff like that, they'll tighten up and everything. But it's good. It's and Chuck brought up pacing, and the pacing of the fight scenes was really well done as well. We have a mutual friend, Anthony, who's really big in the storytelling of fight scenes, and they have to tell this story. And you got a chance to see some of that as well. They just need reps. That's all. It's good. They just need some practice. That's all.
Okay, I can get with that.
I will say, I thought they did a really good job of bringing the character traits of each character into their fight scenes. I thought that was a strong element, so that I can't say it made up for it, but I did like seeing Zoro at times, pull out the bandana and, put it on, that he would put the third sword in his mouth and, and have his his 3-sword style. And I love to see Sanji with his hands in his pockets, like before he did a couple of kicks.
Yes, I'm
Like
sorry,
when he
that-
was
that
like,
part
when he
right.
still had his hands in his pockets and he was like, pow, pow. I was like, now see, that may not have been a real straight, but you get so many cool points for having your hands in your pocket.
Yo,
You know
that
what I
part.
mean?
Yo,
like-
and when they hit Zorro and he did the slide with the 2 swords.
Yes.
I was like, yes.
I
Yes.
thought
That's
the
what I'm
fight
talking
scene
about.
told a story. I didn't think the execution was that.
Was
I didn't think it was
perfect.
perfect,
Yeah, they
but I
were
thought
reps.
But I didn't care. Yeah.
I thought the choreography told the story of the characters. They were almost another part of the character's story in their fighting scene. So I thought they really nailed it. I enjoyed them.
And I would have liked to have seen more of Nami with her bow, you know, because there was a lot of times Nami was just running, like in the battle with Arlon when she's just running from the house, like literally like out of the building. She didn't battle at all. I don't know if that, because I didn't get that far. But I don't know if she was actually involved in the battle. I'm assuming that she would have been, but I missed that. Bothered me a little bit that she was the damsel in distress, like because she hadn't been the damsel in any other part of this series. So but can I just say about pacing one thing, that episodes 1, 2, and half of 3 were so slowly paced. I'm not gonna lie, I slept through a lot of 2 and 3 because it just didn't really, I was like, what are we doing? Let's, and I could have been, I was mad about, like the change up in Buggy's story. But then when they introduced Kaya and Usopp, and it wasn't until midway episode 3 and into 4 that it was strong, because those two pirates that were working with what's the name? Kalor?
With Kuro.
Kuro. If they didn't come out with the little ridiculous cats, it was fun. You know what I mean? The fun factor was there, and it was amped up from that moment. I thought the pacing got so much stronger for the rest of the series.
So, Rakai, I noticed in this story, we get a lot of backstory for the different characters, and I don't love this trait. I always think of what's that damn Star Wars show with them being in the Baptic tank. Not the Mandalorian.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, right? And so it can be used redundantly. But we provide a lot of backstory in this series. Was this effective for the storytelling?
It's funny that you use Boba Fett, because the backstory in the back of the tank was the only good damn part of that show. Shit. It's like, leave him in the back of the tank the whole time.
I ended up
just him in the back of the tank, like no talking, just him in the back of the tank in the diaper.
Okay. Yeah, but the back, but yeah. So was this an effective technique for helping to tell this story?
It was absolutely effective, and it was effective because, like you said, and I think we've all said, we are not that versed in this world and knowing what these characters' motivations are. So to give us the backstory, I thought the backstory, with all of them, were excellent for real. I think the only one that was really lacking was Luffy's. His backstory as a kid. Him spending time with his grandfather, him around Shanks. I got a feel for who Luffy was, but not why he was. You know what I'm saying? Just, okay, he's a little kid who's enamored with with pirates, and for some reason he's gonna be the king of the pirates. He has a rich imagination, and then he eats, he's a mischievous kid, and he eats a damn, some cotton candy, some gum, eat some fruit that he ain't supposed to eat, and before you know it, he's, Elastic Man. Okay, cool, all right, whatever. But I mean, I think you compare that to the backstory they gave us with Sanji and Chef Zeph. Come on, dude, like that.
Yo.
Shit?
And the Chef Zeph one is really detailed in the story, and they caught as much as they could, and I was proud of them for it. That one was probably gonna be the toughest one for me, I thought, to translate. I was wondering, I'm like, how are they gonna do this? And they did a really good job. I was proud of them with that.
I did not see that coming. They got me. Like I was like, this man over here that started a restaurant while you struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like
when he freaked out and like, where's the food? and it was all the, the gold and stuff left. And which, most people are like, well, why did he keep that? Yeah, because they're gonna need to pay their passage and their way, and he was a pirate after all, or whatever. It made sense, but to do what he did to survive, that's a whole different thing. Like,
Yeah, man.
the fact that he didn't bleed out, I was like, what kind of antiseptic, what kind of antibiotics is in that gold bag? Because wow,
Whiskey.
he got some strong stuff.
So one of the things I thought they were going to miss, and what I thought they were going to miss in the series as a whole, is scale, right? Because scale in the animated series.
Oh, he froze
Oh, Centel, you froze on us.
in a really funny way.
See, he started talking about scale, and he scaled all the way.
Oh, he scaled all the way.
Yeah, he scaled all
But
the way
like,
up.
I thought that was really clever to piggyback until he comes back. I thought that was really clever and a great fun fact about how the fishermen use scale in order to like, heal a wound. That was pretty awesome. And even though I haven't gotten to that part of the anime, I'm assuming that probably had a lot to do with it. But where do you get the fish?
And it kind of connected.
Chuck, are you still there? Can you answer that question? Can you finish
still
maybe
here.
Centel? Can you finish Centel's thought until he gets back?
I don't know where they got the fish from. It may just been fish he had, actually. I have no idea where he got the fish from.
You talking about Zeph when they were on the rock?
When they were on the rock. Mhm.
Yeah.
Like he might have caught a fish when they got to the rock, because he pulled him and the boy Sanji to the rock and climbed up it.
Yeah, so he might have had some. I don't know.
He might have took one of the provisions he had to make that work for them.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Hey.
There you are.
Hey, Centel.
You froze in a really funny way. It was great.
Yeah,
was
because
out.
remember,
Yep.
Luffy asked him, he said, do you know what it's like for somebody to lose a limb for you? And he was like, yeah, I actually kind of do.
Which is funny. Yeah. Yes, I do.
I kind of do. Centel, go ahead. You were talking about the scale.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah, so there's two things regarding the story of the chef story, right? And what I thought was going to be a problem for the overall arching One Piece narrative as a whole, and that is scale. Because in the animated series, like these people, the big people are absolutely huge. Like Arlong is like 10 feet tall, right? What's his name? Sanji's chef. Like that moment when he's like when he saves him from the chef, that chef is huge. He's a massive dude. And when you get the when you get the payoff in the end after they've waited so many days, he's like, "Where's the food?" And then you come back and you see the chef. He's this frail thing. He's so tiny, and so like a good strong wind would blow him away. And it really emphasized the sacrifice that he gave. So I was like, man, I don't know if that's gonna hit like that, because when you see it, it's like, oh my God, this dude really starved himself to death. And you didn't see the starve yourself to death look in the live action, but it still stuck. Like obviously everybody was like, "Yo, that was a really good scene." So
he didn't lose his leg in the anime?
No, he does. He does.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
he's a big imposing pirate. He's just this dude that you don't mess with. He's like 8 feet tall and big. He's like 400 pounds. But when he made that choice, he shrinks away to like this little frail thing, and he's like, I did this for you in a sense, and it just really hits home because you can see that change.
Yeah, that was just a really strong storytelling, and I thought they did a really, really good job.
I tell you what was real strong storytelling for me, and it made a difference. Is because throughout this whole series, I understand people are narcissistic and selfish and self-serving. I mean, I knew that as soon as they cut Buggy loose, I can help y'all. And Buggy's like, yeah, I'm not. Like, he's like, goddamn clowns. It's like, how can you not see that coming? But to me, the backstory for Nami that redeemed her at the end, that made me actually go from really disliking her character to being accepting of her character. I'm not gonna go as far as like, oh, I like her now. No. But I accepted her character and I accepted the sacrifice that she made, and she took that all on herself and chose that path as a little girl. And it was, like at first it's easy too to write into the story that it's a revenge plot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get revenge by getting in close and worming my way in and eventually get my revenge. But it wasn't even about that. It was about freedom and the rest of the people in the village. And I thought that was a really interesting angle to take. And it made her character, it made me okay with her character's part of the truth. Because before that, I was like, if they don't 86 her monkey ass, like, she gotta go.
You all didn't think though there was something. I didn't feel that her story arc was done. I was like, there's something underneath that's not being told right now. I thought there was redemption all the way throughout there. I never
did.
I thought that, like, what we saw is what we got.
No, I'm with you, Randy. I definitely think that there was more to her story, but I thought it was way more interesting than her, like, the keep your enemies close, your friends close, your enemies closer, like, so she can like take him out. I thought that the story with her mom and who, that conversation that she had with her mom, like, it really shaped her and it shook her. Like, even stealing the book, you know what I mean? And like that what kind of person do you want to be? Like, but she knew what she was capable of, to like showing this dark side of her character and yet still holding on to her truth, which was, I can't lose anyone else. Right. And I think that this whole show has really been about discovering your own personal truth. Like, what is it that you are wanting? Because like, that's why that end scene meant so much to me. I love the way they did it, how they went around, how they all spoke their dream. And we saw, like the flashbacks along with those like declarations. And I thought that was really, really strong, because we got to see, reminded of each one journey that we learned from their story. We were reminded, this is what Nami is fighting for. This is what Luffy, this is Sanji, this is Usopp, this is Zoro. Like, and it clarified that. So I thought that set him well up for next season. Like, I thought the stories were really strong.
And when they put the leg up, that made me want to go see. I'm like, I'm gonna skip ahead. I'm gonna watch season 2 because I want to know. Like, I'm interested. I am invested in this world now, and I want to see where this journey goes with these characters. I thought the way they came together and coalesced, I thought that was great.
It's funny that you say that, because the diehard One Piece fans, they're all screaming from the mountaintops, "See, we told you this was good. Why haven't you been believing us?" See, like every single One Piece fan is just like, "We've been trying to tell you. We've been."
You're right. Since it came out last week, they said, whatever, and Netflix is secretive about numbers. It has smashed all the records, and One Piece is bigger than Stranger Things and Wednesday.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think
saying it's coming for the crown. They're saying it could be a contender for the South Korean joint. Oh my gosh,
Squid
Game.
Yeah,
they're saying it could potentially, meet
knock off Squid Game.
Yeah, that's a big. Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah,
like 300 million people watch Squid Game. Some crazy number around the world. Yeah,
and it's only gaining more steam. Like it's like a hurricane. It's like a Cat 4 right now. It's like, dang, it's really picking up.
I think what let me, and I know you want. That's the sound of. Okay, let's move on.
I just want to read. Go ahead.
Nami, and like I said, I don't want to spoil it too much, but Nami, who she was working for, I did not. It's not that I didn't see that coming, but I didn't think that at all. What I thought was strange was episode 1, like the beginning minutes, when you showed us Alvita, and then she disappeared. Like, who the hell is this big woman, and what is, what's her importance of the story? So when Nami was doing all the secret stuff, I said, that's where Lizzo, she gonna come back in on that part right. What?
I did like the mermaid phone though. The mermaid phone.
Hey, the mermaid snail phone.
That little snail, you know what I mean? The snail piece. Like
That's crazy.
They kept all of
I-
that.
I tell you, the character that I didn't understand, like,
Okay.
and I guess it makes more sense if you watch the anime. And the only thing that I can tell is that I'm seeing, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm seeing that he's going to train and become, just like in all stories, the trope is, your best friend becomes your mortal enemy or whatever.
Kobe.
That Kobe, yeah, is going to be, a friend and the biggest foil to Luffy. He's the one that's going to, mess him up. He's going to be, friend 1 minute, and frenemies or however that shit works. You know what I'm saying?
I was mad about Kobe's hair.
I didn't understand his character really at all. I wasn't about hair, and like I know that on this live action, like he was like, I don't know, I'm gonna guess about like 10 years older than what he is in the anime. He was older character on here than he is in anime. Like
that part.
Damn near a little kid.
He was the only one that I didn't really enjoy as an actor. Like I did not enjoy Kobe. I thought they got Kobe all wrong. There was one actor in the restaurant scene at Barty's who was sitting there with hair that was exactly like Kobe's should have been from the anime, and yet the Kobe we got sitting here in a broke ass like dye job. I didn't. That bothered me, and I just didn't feel like Kobe's like enthusiasm and energy was right.
I didn't think Kobe got that much clock. Honestly, like in the animated series, he's not really a big deal at all. But in here in the live action, like he's like got like a lot of lines, and I'm like, are they trying to like maybe take some liberties with the character and maybe kind of like bring him in? But let me ask y'all this question. And I'm sorry, Randy, for asking questions. I know you're the MC of this, but I was curious.
Go ahead. We just
because somebody had brought up the fact of age, right? Now, if this is a very successful project and it's looking like it is, and this gets multiple seasons, age is gonna be a problem, because if they trying to close this bad boy out, you're talking about it's gonna take at least 10 seasons bare minimum to close out One Piece.
Luffy gonna be like 39.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna have a 35-year-old
and he already 28.
Stretchy thing. I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna translate. Like, I feel like they're running into Stranger Things territory. Like these grown ass kids. Ooh, that's a grown man over there.
Yeah.
It just seems a little. I don't know, or maybe they might do a House of the Dragon and just I don't know.
We ain't getting 10 seasons. Netflix ain't giving us 10 seasons. I almost can.
Besides, they did. What did Chuck say? 60 episodes, or you said this, Centel, 60 episodes in one season. Come on, they gonna close it in like 5.
Yeah, we'll
get like a Stranger Things. We get like 5
seasons. We might get a movie. We might get a movie. We might not even get 4 seasons. We might get movies. Yeah.
Now you might be right on that, because there's a cheat code to watching One Piece if you don't know. If you want to speed up really, really quickly, watch the movies, because the movies are pretty much recaps of the sagas. So maybe they'll do what you just said. And I think there's a precedent, because Ahsoka, I think they're saying like episode 6 of Ahsoka is supposed to be released in the theaters. It's like one of the first times that they're doing it. Yeah. So that could be a new precedent. And if One Piece is gonna go down that path and maybe truncate their series into like movie forms, then they may do that. But that they have to be concerned. I don't see how you're not concerned with age if this is a hit.
Well, here's another thing that we forget about. And yes, we are in full solidarity with the writers and the actors and everyone in SAG-AFTRA. Now that this is a huge hit,
for a while.
Let them check.
Ain't no. I mean, I know Ichiro Oda probably got stuff and he probably ready to go, but we not seeing no parts of this for a grip, and a lot of other stuff that we like that's hit, and we ready for. No, you're not getting season 2 of this for a minute.
At least 2025.
I mean, old dude that played Luffy, he's gonna be a grandfather by then.
I don't even think 2025.
Year and a half per season.
Yeah, we're not getting this for about end of 2025 at earliest. Like we're almost talking 2026. Because we're in
Right,
2024, damn near not.
Right.
Right,
But also keep in
but
mind, we're
also you
dealing
got
with
special
international
effects.
actors. Yeah, we're dealing with international actors.
Yeah,
and
if they shoot
there's
it,
a
it's
lot of
in
different
Europe.
leeway. These
Oh,
rules with SAG stuff is primarily issues in the States.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
you
outside
can
of the
shoot.
country is a whole different animal.
You can
So,
shoot overseas under a different contract that's not, technically SAG, because
Yeah.
a lot of the British television is still shooting
not missing a
because
beat.
because they're
Yeah.
like, we got a whole, we are a British equity. So
And not
Yeah.
only that, somebody, and I think Courtney, you just said it too, the special effects. And now,
special
a lot of
effects,
special
that's why I
effects,
said
they trying
2025.
to unionize and all that. Like it's
Oh, they unionized. Yeah, they're not trying anymore. They voted on it.
yeah, that's
All
gonna
right.
be a minute.
Yeah. So all
Yeah.
right, let's not go down too many rabbit holes. Let's re-rate this thing. So we're gonna start with you, Courtney. How are you gonna
Aw.
re-rate it?
Man. How am I gonna re-rate it? We've had a really good conversation, and the things that I was a little sea salty about don't necessarily hold water in the sense of me being like frustrated, things that they change. Like, I understand you have to take liberties. But I do think that the strengths outweigh the changes that may have hurt my feelings. So I think I'm gonna go up to binge-worthy.
That's worthy. All right. Centel, how you gonna re-rate it?
Hey, Court is absolutely right. I was petty in my initial ones because there are some things I'm like, man, I wanted to see this, I wanted to see that. But if I take myself out of it and I look at the grand thing, look at the whole thing with fresh eyes, it's really good. It's a really good project, man. And it is binge worthy because I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna watch it again, and I don't really do that a lot. I probably will watch this like one more time as I wait till 2025.
I went back and
Well, you
watched
can get,
the opening sequence. I went back to episode 1 right
Well,
after I finished.
you can watch the animated version, the anime, to keep you entertained. You got a
Oh no,
long
we are. It's our breakfast treat. Like we
Okay,
we
nice.
just every daily One Piece. We at least get one in.
Yeah, you can restart
fight.
Saturday morning cartoons with
Yeah.
voice.
We should do that, y'all. We should do Saturday morning cartoons with like
Oh my God, we should.
of One Piece. We should do that.
Hey,
We can get
Jojo,
cereal. We
I'll
can
some
get some
old
cereal.
dry fruity
Yeah.
pebbles like I did
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah,
a
we
kid.
can
I'll be in my
Yo.
pajamas with a bowl of cinnamon toast crunch.
Exactly.
Ready.
Yeah. We should do that. We should set
Captain
that
Crunch.
up. Yes,
Captain
sir.
Crunch is the cereal of
Oh,
choice
God.
for One Piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo,
I'm with it.
Chuck said +1. He like, y'all
Yeah.
better include me in this bad boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta set that up. We gotta set, and that way we can get through it. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick. I'm keeping it the same. I loved it, and I literally binged it. I watched it. I started watching it Saturday. I was done by like Saturday evening. So yeah, I'm sticking with a full binge out. Rakai, how you gonna re-rate it, sir?
I also binged it, which I hardly ever do. I watched like the first 2 episodes, and then I had to put it on pause just because life. And then I watched the other 6 episodes all this morning. So, yeah. Now here's the thing for me. I'm staying at a binge worthy, and that is simply because my oldest son, one of his favorite animes is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I watched the first season with him, and I was like, okay, this is okay. I see it. And then we got to season 2, and I got to like episode 26, and I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, you're not finished with the season. I said, wait, what? He said, yeah, season 2 is like, 40, 48 episodes or something. I was like, oh, time out, blow the whistle, throw flag on the play. No, son, no. And I haven't finished it yet, and he's mad at me because I haven't finished. So to see something that's already 1,500 episodes in, and it didn't get good to episode 360 something, I was completely opposed to watching One Piece. My kids like it, and I was like, no, I cannot get started on that. So to see this, and it makes me now want to reconsider and go back and watch the anime so that I can get filled in and know everything. That's a pretty strong property. And and for me to tell somebody else, even as weird and as kooky and Shaolin soccery as this is, for me to still tell other people about it, hey, you need to get on this. This is, yeah, it's a binge worthy to me.
Good stuff. Chuck, what about
Yeah.
you, sir? How you gonna rate it? You still out there, Cuzzo?
I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it a binge worthy. I'm going up from a full meal to a binge worthy. That was my initial thing. And because I really do want a season 2. This, like what Rakai said, it makes me want to watch the anime. And not many live actions, anything made me
Right.
want to read or watch the original stories.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
Harry
it's-
Potter movies, they didn't make me want to read those books. Luckily, I read those books first.
Ain't that the truth? Preach,
You know,
because
the
they
same
give you
thing with
bits and
Katniss
pieces.
and the Hunger Games. And this made me say, I need to watch this anime because there's something here. And I have friends telling me, oh, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You have no idea where this goes.
Yeah, this is about to be my new Clone Wars because now that like during the pandemic, everybody had been telling me, "Oh, watch Clone Wars, Clone Wars." I was like, I don't have time. I don't have time. It's too many seasons. I have plenty of fucking time. So I went through all of Clone Wars and finally finished Rebels, and you know what I'm saying. And it really reshaped my understanding of the Star Wars universe. And I feel like jumping in now of One Piece, like it's literally gonna be the one that I just kind of go to. I'm gonna watch a few episodes on it this day and a few episodes more on that day. And I'm going to invest because I just really enjoyed myself.
Let me just because I know everybody's like, yeah, I'm ready to jump into the series. It's some slow burns, and I just want to warn you. But it is good. It is good. But there's some. It's 1,000
Filler
plus
episodes.
Yeah, Chuck told me it's full of filler episodes.
It's full of filler episodes.
But
I might need that supercut.
Yeah, I'll happily pull that bowl
So
of cereal with
Courtney,
y'all.
this is your new Clone Wars and not your new Boba Fett.
all right. Chuck trying to be sarcastic. Guy.
I'm just messing with
To
you.
me, you just scared me now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just being facetious.
Does it become Boba?
No, it does not become Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
He
No,
hasn't
no,
even seen
no.
them all. So
I'm
yeah,
just being a troll for that Lucas properties that I
Could
will
be
not
worse.
talk about.
Could turn into Solo.
all right. So Rakai, what you guys say before we head out, man?
Listen,
Oh,
I am ecstatic that we did this week. I know it was a very timely decision, but to be honest with you, I am so looking forward to our discussion next Wednesday. That is what and that's been a long time coming. Because it's an excellent property. I bet you can't tell which way I'm gonna vote. But I'm really looking forward to our discussion next week.
Ooh, cool. Courtney, you got anything to say before we head out, man?
Gum fruit. Yeah, geek out and good night.
Gum.
Chantel, you got anything to say before we head out, sir?
I just love kicking it with y'all. You have no idea how much joy it just brings to my heart to just chop it up with you ignorant ass motherfuckers. I love y'all. And if y'all have me on, I will absolutely, bop in and have my hellos, man. Thank you all. Thank you. I'm grateful.
The key is under the mat. Whenever you want to, you just gotta lift up the mat. Into the door, man.
Hey, I'm letting you now know. Hey, listen, don't give me the cake because I'm gonna go straight to the fridge. I'm going straight to the refrigerator.
You did say that Miss Seeley was home. Miss
Seeley
here now.
right, Miss Seeley
here now.
Yeah. That's not even you ain't even gotta ask. Just tell us when you want to come through, man. Chuck, you got anything to say before we head out?
Yep, I love y'all like Luffy loves his crew.
He must
you
be
want to
big.
be my friend.
Wait a minute. That means I'm Nami. Wait a minute. Wait
I
a
didn't
minute.
say you were
Listen,
Nami.
all I'm saying
is I'm
Don't make
not
that
playing.
assumption,
No,
Courtney.
playing.
Don't make that
That wasn't a
assumption.
terrible. That
You
wasn't a bad. It was a funny. It was supposed to
Uh-huh.
laugh.
Yeah,
That was funny.
Laugh.
it was funny. Gum fruit.
All right. Shouts out to Digital Click. They provide our surroundings, our borders, and they do our marketing activities. Give a shout out to Rodney, our technical director. Rodney's dope. One of the dopest in the business. And shouts out to the BingeWorthy crew. As I've been saying, man, y'all don't know. Every week, we binge a whole series, and that ain't even the minimum of what we watch, right? A whole series, and we come here to provide dope content for people that look like you. So please support us in all of our platforms. That being said, next week, tune in. Did we say what we're doing next week? Or Rakai, you were pumped about it. You want to tell the people what we're doing next week?
An excellent under-promoted property from Disney Plus, called Kazazi Moto.
Kazazi Moto. So tune in next week. Same geek time, same geek channel. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.